painting soft flowers and a weather metal can in the same painting can be tricky because each needs a different touch. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to keep the petals of the flowers soft and delicate, and how to build the character, all the weather down, watering can, and how the contrast of these two brings the whole piece to life. So what are we waiting for? Let's start painting. I'm going to start with the background because I want a soft atmosphere to start setting the tone for the paint. So now I'm wearing the rest. We want to have a very soft background that matches the colors of the greenery and the flowers, but doesn't compete with it. So colors: magenta by Sminky, Winston & Newton Diazonite Violet, and also by Winston & Newton Sap Green. So not too strong and allowing for some whites to go to be around. Then I come with greens. This is the sap, the violet. And then just with my brush, almost no water, just gonna tap it and help a little bit with the blending. A lot of water here so I can go and bring a couple, but I want this. So the idea here is that it will create a little bit of contrast, but not take the spotlight of our focal point here, the sharper can and the light flowers. Be slightly darker, so now it's a good time to bring, oh, I was having magenta and with the purple, but that's okay, I like that color too. Now, yes, a little bit of color came into my can, I don't mind because it's going to be all in darks. Like the tracing template, or if you simply want the reference pictures just to be next to you while you paint, both are available in my Patreon and I will link it below. Sap green around here, purple. I have a lot of water here. One thing that you can do is like take all the water from your brush and then just come lightly here, and you see how the brush is soaking all the water. That's what we need. All right, because I want to keep the sharp objects against the airy ones. I want to keep this background kind of airy. A little bit of that here and there so I don't have a hard line, and then later we will build this ground. We have the colors of a background. Let's just put it in this little part as also background. For the flowers, I want the flowers airy, and yes, for that one I'm trying my very best with my edges clean. I'm just gonna put the underpainting of the watering can. I wet this part and then I come Cerulean by Winston & Newton. And again, as I say, this is just the underpainting. Payne's Gray. And this is Bronziana by Winston & Newton. Again, I cannot emphasize enough that this is just the underpainting. I'm just starting to create the form, and then we will come to do the rust and everything and put all the details. You can wet when the two colors are gonna blend, or you can wet the whole thing, that's up to you. If I see the highlight, that's where the cerulean goes, and it's gonna give me a little bit of texture, and that's what I want for this metal. Then right away, I go with the Payne's Gray so that they allow this to blend. Now, neutral tint by Daniel Smith for the hand shovel, and finally neutral tint mixed with bronze sienna for the handle. For this first pass for the flowers, I'm going with the magenta very diluted. I want to save some of my whites so that some of them will be white flowers, and keep everything transparent. A little bit of airy, and some of them I bring a little bit of orange, mixed very, very light, mixed with the magenta in some cases. So this is going to take a little bit of time. Let me put it in fast forward. Keep in mind that you have to go with a light touch now and later, otherwise if you put the paint too heavy, we will lose the delicacy of these flowers. As As I was following my reference picture, I found out that some of these little holes over here are not white flowers, they are background, so nothing to panic. Go with the same colors that you were using for the background, and there's nothing major. However, it makes the flowers pop up more. Everything is looking good. We have already established where the colors are, the shapes, the delicacy of the flowers. Time to do our rust. This is Burnt Sienna by Winston & Newton. I prefer this brand for this type to do the rust because it leans more into the orangey color characteristics of rust. I'm coming here and I'm picking it up very thick. Following where I see the rust in my reference pictures, I'm gonna apply it. Usually rust goes in the places where it touches water, but this is a watering can, so it's going to be in quite a few places. Again, the paint needs to be thick. This is the first step, so we will come back in a minute. And for that, we need this paint to be dry and thick. At this time, I think the best thing to do is just let it dry so that we can come back with and apply the next layer where we're going to activate all of this. Finish this garden tool. The colors are the neutral tint by Daniel Smith, the one that I've been using, and I added a little bit of brown sienna to it. Let's just make this turn a little bit of the light area there. It's kind of like a shadow I hear. So water, I like to make my line first. Less wet. Let's just use like a dry brush. Let's see, this tool is also, it's not perfect, it's not brand new. And this is also allowing me to create the depth. So it's not only in one size, but in this other one too. Maybe we can put some of this here too. We will come with a broken, kind of like dots, if you will. Here now I'm going to come with one that only has water, soften some of this. So we accomplished to have the depth, and I think that at this point I'm just going to leave this alone. Just move to the handle, sienna and neutral tint. Let's go around here, let's come around, go with water, tap it. Let's just bring it here, just turn it. Some directional strokes. And then water. Tap, tap, tap. Let it bleed naturally. Thicker. And then go with water. Tap, tap, tap. So what is left in this tool is the finishing touches. I don't want to put them yet. I want to move on to the can. Then we will put shadows and white. Cerulean blue with neutral tint. The ones that I've been using before, but I decided to use these for my dark colors of the can. Activate this, all this rust that we built up. This is my cerulean blue. See how as I go next to my thick paint, it starts bleeding out a little bit of that? That's what we want. Then now I can make the dark color meet this other one. And again, it's picking up some of those, making it believable. Making our rust believable. Now it seems like this is taking over, so I go lightly. There you go. Push it a little bit away. It's giving us the roundness. Now back to our dark colors. Bring some of those here. Switch. Tap, tap, tap with water. Tap, tap, tap. I still need to build this, the roundness of the can. So now I'm coming with my blues. Yeah, I want to have a highlight here, so I just come in with water. Activate my rust. Do the same thing here. This needs to be a little bit darker if I want my can to turn. So let's just come with the darker colors. Bring them down. Cerulean blue by itself, and do the transition. So this is just to activate the rust that we put. Yes, I'm trying to drop some dark colors where I see it, but all the details are gonna come later. I got a little bit of a hard liner there. That's okay. With the brush that I have cerulean, I activate some of this rust, come with the one that has cerulean and neutral tint, and also I will have to start turning this a little bit. Let them bleed and blend with the other color. And see how by dropping the colors, let them blend in the paper, having the rust being activated with all those transitions, we create the sense of something, the metal color and something rough. So at this point, I think that we are good to start setting details. We're gonna start here. Brush with color. The colors is burnt sienna and neutral tint, and the other one is just water. I put a little bit around here. Go right away with water and bleed it out. I'm trying to make an ellipse here. So burnt sienna alone, the neutral tint, bring the burnt sienna, and I bleed this with burnt sienna, and then water, water, water. I want to have a little bit of a highlight here, so this looks more round. So let me see if I can lift some of these colors. If not, we will come back with white. It doesn't matter. But let's just try this first. If I go and I wet, and then just with the tissue, yeah, perfect. And let's just do a tiny little bit here too. Do the same thing. Nice. Dark colors. Then go with a little bit of water. Bleed, bleed, bleed. And then, most importantly, bring it down. Like it's attached to this part over here where it turns. This will be a little bit darker. So let's just put like a shadow, maybe even slightly darker. It's also gonna allow our flowers to pop out a little bit more. This will be part of the handle. So, right. Let's start finishing this can. This is the neutral tint with the cerulean. I put a little bit. Go with water, bleed it out. You don't have to bring it everywhere, just a little bit. Go a little bit over our rust. It's okay. Just tap, tap, tap. If I want to get some of this dark, since I have it in my brush, and I'm gonna put some over here. For one, I continue to build the can, but for another one, it's also allowing me to lift the petal of the flowers. Touch, touch with water. The can continues to go there, so let's just wet this part on it, and then drop the dark color. I like how this metal is looking. I think I'm just gonna put this light one here, and I'm gonna leave it alone for details. I think that it has plenty. It looks very realistic, so I don't think that we need to mess too much with it. Too much more with it. Yeah, we're gonna put some over here because it's gonna allow us to see how it's turning. Tap, tap, tap. Just gonna come with a little bit of burnt sienna. Put it over there. Getting a little bit more of that edge. And now I'm gonna move on to this. Believe it or not, as much time as we put into making the rough things, for the soft things, we're not gonna need to spend as much. What I'm doing now is I'm gonna see where all my greens are. This is sap green. Once again, I bring them up. If need be, just go with one that has a little bit of water and then just go next to it. So I'm gonna look at my reference picture, and that's what I'm gonna do. So let me put it in a fast forward so I don't bore you. And yeah, I'm putting all this greenery. By putting this greenery, I'm accomplishing two things. Yep, it needs to be there. For another one, it's helped me separate my petals a little bit more, so I will have to do less when I come with the color. With a second pass of the colors in some of these petals. Some I want them to be light as they are. I'm coming with very light color. Keep our flowers airy and light. We need to come with washes that are light. And just by putting two, one on top of the color that we have, building it up little by little. A little bit of peaches to have a little bit of variation to our light pinks, some darker, and a few of them lighter. same colors. And I can start defining some shapes, like this is a folded sweet pea, just with variation. I'm coming here with my most pale color. This is magenta with a very hint of the purple that we were using, the diacetyl violet. So it just put in a touch here and there. Some can be a little bit darker than the others. That's how we keep the softness of these flowers going, the delicacy of them going. And that's all I need to do for that one. So let me find where my light ones are, and then I'm gonna do a couple more like this. Just adding a little bit of definition and a few other flowers, so that the bouquet continues to feel lightly and it doesn't get stiff. So very little color, go with a little bit of water. And here and there, and then it gives like shape and roundness for these gorgeous flowers. It gives that transparency of the petals that are so characteristic of watercolor. That's one of the lovely things about it. So let's just take advantage of that. Water, water, gorgeous. The more of these, drop a little bit of color, then go right away with water and let them bleed and have little nuances like that. The more natural these flowers are gonna look. I'm just going around my bouquet and put in a few pinks, a few purples, a few others. They are more on the peachy side. Just between those transitions and the whites, we are creating movement with lightness. At this stage, I'm going to come with a third pass of the darker colors. These are going to be my darker colors, especially here at the bottom of the, because this is where more of the flowers are on top of them, so less light will come through. Combinations that I'm using for the flowers the whole time are magenta with a little bit of the purple, or the magenta with a little bit of orange or yellow. The other times was magenta with the smaller tiny bit of red, pearl red. By adding more or less water, that's all is needed to get these little nuances and color. So coming with a little bit of the darker colors, yes. Come with water, bleed them out. Just coming with a little bit of dark here and there while everything is wet. That suffice to get our the impression of a flower turning, especially to keep our flowers fresh. They're gonna look fresh the less you fuss around with them. These very little touches, light touches of, like say for example, I put one little there, tap, tap, tap. It makes it separate like if it's two petals. A couple more here, and I think I'm gonna call these flowers done. Sometimes the less is more. I have them in a good fresh point, so I think that it's time to move on to the ground. This is burnt sienna with a little bit of the neutral tint, some of the colors that we were using for this. While this is wet, let's just drop a little bit of sap green here and there. Maybe there are a few grasses growing. It's just impressions at this point. So now burnt sienna with neutral tint. Let's just start putting our darker shadows, and it will always be darker close to the objects. So with water. I hope that you can see how contrast can be so effective in watercolors. Contrast can be contrast with color, or contrast of the softness and the also with texture, softer texture, the harder one and the can, or these two, or even the softer background. And a little bit of burnt siennas here too. Form this ground. This white area here, I liked it a lot, but I need to darken some of the bottom. I'm gonna continue to preserve it. It was too distracting, so let's just drop a little bit of darks here, maybe pebbles or something while it's wet. Very dark shadow, as again, closer to the object. This is neutral tint by itself, and it's gonna lift a tool, and it's gonna make a lot more sense. On this with a little bit of the sharp edge. But the surroundings needs to get a little bit darker too. And here I'm going to bring some of the burnt sienna, try to make them blend, and if not, just bring the same color and then blend it in the paper yourself. Now let's evaluate this painting. So I don't think that I'm going to do much more because I like how the balance is right now. Yes, I need to do something with this green, so let's just put, like, if it is maybe some grasses coming out of there. Still a sap green, I'm just gonna come with it a little bit thicker here and there. Just come here with a few darks. Maybe there are pebbles on the ground. Rough it up a little bit, add a little more contrast, but I love the good balance that we have. Just for fun, let me come here with, I have neutral tint, so let's just put a few of these little holes that they're still from my pencil lines, but let's get a few of them staying up a little bit more. This is just obviously optional. It adds the little tiny layer of realism, but you don't have to put them if you don't want to. Now, if you are, keep in mind this is on the lips, so the little circles will follow that. I think I'm gonna call this painting done. I hope that you enjoy painting this beautiful painting with me. Of course, what makes something like this work is the softness and freshness of the flowers against the character and the roughness of the metal. That contrast puts this whole beautiful painting together. Reference and tracings are, of course, in Patreon, link them below. If you want to continue painting with me, click on one of these videos. As always, I thank you for being here, and I will see you in my next one.